Peace and blessings multiply to you and yours in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Most High God, the Savior of those that keep His commandments. I'm Brother Ron. I hope y'all are having a good day today. And I just want to expound on a few things. Okay. Give me 1 minute. My phone. Where is my phone? Okay, there we go. Alright. Now this video is called Black History, a Prelude to the Past. And I'm bringing it up because this is February. It's Black History Month, right? However, we know we live it and breathe it every day. We are black every day. So, what I want to bring up is the fact that, why is it whenever every year you have this one short month to honor black history, right? And in these institutions, these educational facilities, such as public schools, high schools, universities as well, whenever they talk about black history, what is the main thing they talk about? The slavery, right? So our history don't go back further than slavery. Something wrong with that. Which shows us that they are not telling you all of the history. And I'm just going to show you something, about that. First of all, they only start with slavery. They never go back beyond slavery. Our culture goes back thousands of years. Thousands of years that they never teach on. They never test people on. They want people to forget what happened before slavery to black people. I'm just going to touch on something, okay? Now, how did we get into slavery? Because slavery didn't start in America. Why? Okay, first and foremost, they call us African Americans, right? Because the slave masters came and captured our forefathers and put them on slave ships in Africa. But Africa wasn't our original home. We migrated there our forefathers migrated there through multiple years. And I'm gonna give you a tidbit of recorded history of how that happened. Okay? So, this is a history book called From Babylon to Timbuktu, written by Rudolph Windsor. And he did his research. He did some extensive research. This is not a brand new book. It's been out for a long time. And the powers that be love to suppress information, especially when it's coming from one of us. All right, so bear with me. This is let me see, what's that highlight? Okay, this is From Babylon to Timbuktu, and I'm just gonna start with page 115. So, if you got a copy of this, make sure you get one. If you don't, and if you got a copy of this, follow along with me. This is page 115. And it says the expulsion of the Jews from Spain and Portugal. Excuse my language here. Okay, and he's not talking about the Jews that are in Israel right now fighting against the Arabs. He's talking about black Jews, okay? The original Jews. All right. Now, it was AD 1492. Remember 1492 when Columbus sailed the ocean blue? Okay, around that time. It says January 2nd when the Moorish stronghold of Grenada surrendered to the armies of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. Y'all heard of them because they famous in history too, right? For the first time since the year 711, all of Spain was in Christian hands. That's Roman Christian hands, okay? The decree to expel the Jews from Spain was signed on March 31st in one of the corridors of the Great Alhambra, the palace of the Moorish kings of Grenada. The reason given for the expulsion of the Jews was that it was thought they corrupted the Morenos, Jews converted to Christianity, by privately encouraging them in disloyalty to Christianity. That's disloyalty once again to Roman Christianity, or Catholic Christianity, not Bible Christianity. Okay. The ultimatum given to the Jews expired August 1st, 1492, but the last group of Jews did not leave until August 2nd, 1492. This date is of strange coincidence. That day was the 9th of Ab, the last day, which is reminiscent of the destruction of the first and second temples. Oh, okay. I guess that was a briefing of the month Abib. Okay, it just had A and B. That okay. Professor Alan H. Godbey says that the reign of the last Jewish king of Ghana. What? The last Jewish king of Ghana. He's not talking about an Edomite Jew. He's talking about an Israelite Jew. Hence, Hebrew. Okay? It says, the reign of the last Jewish king of Ghana terminated in 1492 in order to satisfy Queen Isabella of Spain. King Manuel of Portugal promulgated a royal decree expelling the Jews and Moors from his country in 1496. Next page, page 116, says, the Jews who were expelled from Spain and Portugal were scattered throughout the Mediterranean coast. It is estimated that over 100,000 Jews departed from Spain and Portugal during the persecutions and the expulsion. Some of these Jews went to northern Europe, Italy, and Turkey, but most of them went to Muslim countries of northern and western Africa. These black Jews would naturally go to African countries, most of all because of less persecution, and they could disguise themselves easily among blacks. Right, because they were black. The Jews were black. Okay, makes sense. You can't take when Joseph and Mary hid the child Jesus in Egypt from Herod from killing him. They hid him where? In an all black country. Because if he was white and they took him to Egypt to hide, they would have found him. They would have been like, there you go, right there. You know what I'm saying? Make it make sense, man. Common sense, not so common. Okay. Where was I? Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Next paragraph. R.H.M. Ewells, I guess that's important person, gives a graphic description of the Portuguese Jew. Baruch Spinoza, middle-sized, good features, skin somewhat black, black curly hair, long eyebrows of the same color, so that one might know by his looks that he was a descendant from Portuguese Jews. That's Jews that were living in Portugal. You know what I'm saying? Just like Jews that were living in Spain. The black Jews were the original Jews. But Spain and Portugal was not their country. Okay? You can even read the Bible and hear Paul talk about Spain. Talk about going to Spain. Because that was one of the places that our forefathers were scattered to. Bear with me. Let me see something. Okay. Let me read on. Pay attention. When the Jews were expelled from Spain, about 100,000 entered Portugal. They were permitted to enter under the condition that they pay the poll tax, with the understanding that they would leave the country within 8 months. Also, at this time, the king obligated himself to take the Jews wherever they desired at the termination of the 8 months. When the time expired, many Jews were stranded because the king did not provide enough ships in time. So those ships became important to the king later on. All the black Jews who were left behind were deprived of their freedom and sold into slavery. Now they was going about the countries of Spain and Portugal freely, but this king made promises to them that he would take them where they want to go, but it didn't work out that way. So what did he do? He said, all the black Jews who were left behind were deprived of their freedom and sold into slavery. But that ain't the start of the transatlantic slave trade. This other king put it in writing and it made a decree which started the transatlantic slave trade. I'm gonna show you that. Well, I believe so. I don't want to take up too much time. During the next paragraph, during the reign of King Zhao or King John II, 700 black Hebrew children. Hebrew children. 700 black Hebrew children were ruthlessly taken away from their parents in Portugal and transported to the island of San Tome or St. Thomas off the coast of Africa. They were Hebrews taken to an island off the coast of Africa and within the continent of Africa, hence Negro land. Okay? Where was I? So I'm basically reading this a little dark in here. This island is located near Nigeria, Cameroon, and Gabon. Alan H. Godbey says that the Portuguese founded the island of San Tome in 1471. In the year 1484, King John II of Portugal, who reigned from 1481 to 1495, offered the Jews of his kingdom the choice of baptism or settling at San Tome. Multitudes of Jews were sent to this island during the reign of King John II. These Jews, Judeos as the Portuguese call them, are serious, as the Portuguese call them, are serious, reserved, and wealthy, holding most of the trade in their hands. Page 117. The Portuguese were the first Europeans to establish themselves on the West African coast. They came first as merchants and secondly as conquerors and slavers. Later in this work, the black Jews in the Portuguese possessions in West Africa will be discussed in greater detail. Now, let me skip around a little bit for sake of time. This page 118. There's still a lot I haven't read it here. But I want to show you something that I can point out to you in the Bible that this backs up the Bible, as well as many other books, because I ain't just got this information about Queen Isabella and Ferdinand in this book. It's in many other books of recorded history. Okay. Page 120. Let me see. Okay, at the bottom of towards the bottom of page 120, it says the West African Jews during the slave trade. The black Jews who migrated to the Sudan from the north converged with the Jews migrating from the eastern Sudan to the countries of the Niger River. It is a known fact that the Jews and Judaism were in Africa 1,500 years before Islam. Ooh, man. Because it's the original. Let me stop. Let me keep reading. And that everywhere the Arabs were, the Jews were there. No, it says everywhere the Arabs went, the Jews were there. Meaning they were there already when the Arabs came on the scene. All right, let me skip around a little bit more, because I want to get to some out so I can read out the Bible. That's page 122. Okay, here's something. The black African Hebrews had settlements not only in the interior of Africa, but they also had communities on the west coast of Africa, from Morocco to Angola. Because in the Bible, when we read the Bible, where did Hebrews always flee to when they were fleeing persecution from Gentile countries and whatnot? They fled into Africa. That's what Jesus did. Okay. Even around the Babylonian captivity, the people was wanting to go into Egypt. And I believe Jeremiah told them not to go into Egypt at that point. But anyway, let me see. Final dispersion of the black Jews of Africa. I ain't gonna read that, because that's a whole lot. But I'm gonna read it another time when I finish putting this thing together. Page 124. Ooh wee. Okay, let me get to page 126. I want to show you something. Let's see. Is that? Okay. Still in the book. Page. Okay, I'm gonna read this and then I'm gonna just keep on going into it. Page 125. This is by the edict of King Manuel of Portugal in 1496, banishing the Jews from Portugal. All Jews were to be out of Portugal by October 1497. However, considering this matter, he decided to Christianize the Jews. Ooh. Make them change their religion. Instead of worshiping the Most High God, they started worshiping another God, right? Fearing the loss of a valuable population. Okay? He wanted the continued use of their knowledge and services. He concluded that the only way the Jews could be tolerated in his country was to force them into the Christian faith. Force them? Ain't that what the Muslims did? Force people to become Muslims? Mm. So the Christians were just as bad, right? Okay. In March 1497, a command was proclaimed throughout Portugal for all Hebrew children between 4 and 14 years of age to be brought for baptism. All parents who did not bring their children voluntarily had their children taken away violently by the officials and forced into baptism. Cecil Roth writes. Which brings me to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Deuteronomy chapter 28, and let's see what we got a lot going on right here. Give me one moment. I got stuff, a bunch of stuff. Deuteronomy chapter 28 in one verse, verse 31. Now, what I just read out the history book back from Babylon to Timbuktu, it says what? That King Manuel, he forced them to be Christians, and it says he proclaimed the command throughout Portugal for all Hebrew children between 4 and 14 years of age to be brought for baptism. All parents who did not bring their children voluntarily had their children taken away violently. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 31. Now this is one of the curses in Deuteronomy. Verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. So who I've been talking about this whole time? Black Jews, right? Who does this point to? Black people, period. So that's just a prelude to Black History. The rest of this month, I'm just gonna try to compile episode after episode, and I got a bunch of history books, so I don't have them with me right now. They're but I'm gonna point out things throughout history and show you things like I just did that happened before the transatlantic slave trade. Before our forefathers went to Africa and were taken as slaves. Okay? So I hope that edifies somebody in spirit and soul